Welcome to the TheDPost Sports Chat. I'm sports editor Drew Rubenstein, and I'm with Kristen Kurlick. And Kristen, we're getting ready to start week 2 of the prep football season. Morgantown University and Clay Battelle all got off to nice starts in week 1, and let's start right there. Which team was most impressive in the opening weekend of prep football season?
You know, I'd have to go with Morgantown coming out of week 1. Reason being, obviously several of the teams won pretty big in week 1, but Morgantown, I talked to head coach John Bowers yesterday, and he was honestly pretty thrilled with how the Mohegans looked in the first week. Normally a team comes out of that first win and they're happy to get a win, but they still have, you know, as he said, about 100 things they want to work on. Really, he didn't see that. He said, you know, his whole team from starters down through his second, third, fourth string looked pretty solid in week 1.
And one interesting part of that, too, I think, is probably the wrinkles that Morgantown High still had. One thing that I think jumps out of the box score is Stone Wolfley didn't have a catch in that game, but his presence was still felt in week 1, right?
Right. Stone did not have a catch, and I asked Coach Bowers about that as well, and he said, you know, when they call a pass play, Stone's number is always on the list, but he draws attention.
Right.
And when they did call those plays, there were about 3 defenders covering him, which opened up some options to throw to some of the fullbacks. Logan Compton had a couple catches as a result, Logan Hatch. And though Stone didn't get any of those catches in week 1, he will be in the upcoming weeks, and he did still impact the game defensively. He had a couple sacks, he had about 10 or 12 tackles, a couple batted passes. So he's still definitely an impact for the Mohegans, whether or not he catches the ball.
Was it a similar story now going to University High with Tony Richardson? I know he had a couple catches, but still coming out of preseason, Tony, like Stone, was one of the guys that we talked a lot out of for the Hawks, just because of the athleticism that he has and what he can bring from a variety of positions on offense. Similar type of thing for Tony?
Definitely. Tony had 2 catches, I believe, in week 1, and honestly, he made his presence felt defensively as well. I think in the very first drive of the game, Lewis County has the ball, and within the first 5 plays, Tony had 2 tackles for loss and kind of set the tone in that game defensively coming off the end. Again, he will get his catches. But, you know, whether or not he does, he is setting the tone for the Hawks.
Okay, and Morgantown's back at home this week against Calvin Coolidge. University High will be making its home debut against Buchanan Upshur. Clay Battelle still on the road before they get a break in their new stadium for 1 more week. But how did week 1 go in terms of implementing their hurry up and spread offense?
You know, Clay Battelle is another team that was kind of a toss-up about who looked most impressive between them and Morgantown, because Clay Battelle also looked very efficient in week 1. That offensive firepower that they have was just as good as it was expected to be. Quarterback Tristan Hott threw 5 touchdown passes in the first week to 4 different receivers. That offense is clicking, seems to be clicking on all cylinders, and I think we can expect a similar sort of result from them this week.
So the CBs play at Allegheny Clarion Valley of Pennsylvania, and it sounds like you're expecting the CBs to probably return to their home stadium with an unblemished record then?
Yeah, I think that would be a safe assumption.
Okay, now in the last one, Preston went to Hampshire in week 1, suffered a defeat. The Trojans may end up proving to be a borderline playoff team, so time will tell what exactly that loss means to Preston. But they return home to play a Lewis County team that still, it seems like they have some pieces as well. Fell to the Hawks in week 1, but Preston kind of went into week 1 unsure about who its starting quarterback would be. It seems like maybe they've figured things out there.
You know, I couldn't say for sure. There's nothing that says this is for sure, but Scott Stone did take every rep in week 1. He made 24 pass attempts, which is slightly unusual for a Preston team that typically runs the ball, uses a lot of power game. And that might play into their advantage in week 2, because Lewis County did have some trouble defending the pass against University. So Preston may be able to use that and use some of the quick wide receivers that Coach Tennant has been kind of talking up during the off season. So
it seems to play to their strengths, and they
Yes.
have a lot of the skill guys. And
yeah, they Preston is definitely looking to rely on some of their receivers, some of their speed this year. So that might be a help for them in week 2.
Very good. Kristen, you'll be at Morgantown High on Friday night, is that right?
I will be.
Okay, very good. Thanks for joining us this week. Please continue to check TheDPost.com for all the latest sports videos, and we'll be back next week to preview week 3 of the prep football season. Thanks a lot.